video, I'm going to discuss and share a progressive training approach to Tai Chi. And this is derived from what I feel is Chang Taijiquan that I teach. And I feel that there's a lot of different viewpoints on Tai Chi and you know, this and that and internal development and things like that. Well, a lot of people, they want to see some results. They want their range of motion to improve, or their generalized stability, or their leg strength to be able to do daily activities. At the same time, those that are wanting to do Tai Chi for fighting skills, we'll say, self-defense and fighting skills, we need to make it in a way that they can actually physically utilize the movements by developing their bodies. And so by just doing Tai Chi or one way on the form and things like that, it doesn't push the person beyond a certain point. And by doing that, they're not going to benefit as much. In the long term, they're not going to benefit beyond what this baseline is. At the same time, though, we have a standard platform, meaning this person comes in and they're going to learn, we'll say our abbreviated form, or 48 set, right? So they take the time, they learn this form, they learn the body mechanics, they learn all of the different attributes that are important at a natural speed and a width and size that's comfortable for them, but maybe it challenges them a little bit. You know, the person came to me and they're walking like this, of course I want to push them to get that foot out in front of the other one, right? Or if they have a hard time turning around, well, we want to make sure that we keep emphasizing those things to get the person to really feel comfortable doing those attributes. So, but we want that standard platform, right? From that standard platform, then we're going to get the person to try to challenge themselves by increasing the width of the stances and the movements, you know, making the movements larger or for that matter smaller if you're doing it for fighting. I know that's kind of maybe sound a little confusing. At the same time, it's also the speed of it. Can we do it slower? Can we do it faster? And why is that important? I feel that if you're just doing Tai Chi one way, example, say you went to a walking, so I don't know, somewhere to walk, and you do this 2 or 3 times a week, and you don't really change it. You know, like you do the same walking circuit, it's flat, it's level, maybe it's indoors, and in the beginning when you did that 2 miles, maybe it was really demanding. It raised your heart rate, created perspiration, you know, made you tired, and then over a period of time, it leveled out, right? Your heart rate doesn't go up anymore, you don't really perspire anymore. It's not really, you've kind of plateaued at doing that. And that's great on one hand. If you keep doing it like that, then you're gonna, maybe you were here and you brought yourself up to this level of physical capacity, right? But if you took that same 2 miles now and you did it outdoors, or you did it on where it's completely in an incline, right? And all of a sudden, that same 2 miles now is going to affect you again. It's going to create perspiration, fatigue, or heart rate increase, all of that stuff, right? And so I'm going to keep pushing myself up to another level. We want to do that with Tai Chi, or I want to teach people to do that with Tai Chi because I feel that that really benefits the person a lot more than theoretical stuff. Meaning, if the person is able, you know, if they're coming to you now, they've got a stride, or now they can lift the legs up, or now their range of motion has increased. That's something that the person can tangibly see and feel in their bodies, and other people can see it too. That's more important to me. The other side of it, the fighting skills, I want to see people be able to articulate these movements in a pressure situation where, you know, can they really make these things work. To me, that's more important. It creates value within the pieces, and nothing just as some theory in my mind that, oh, I know it's going to do that, or I'm developing this internal stuff, and that, but yet at the same time, it's not really, nothing has changed about my mobility or my ability to walk upstairs or get up out of a chair, that kind of concept. So we want to have that one standard platform, meaning this is what you've learned, and now from there we start experimenting. Let's look at the platform. So base platform, we have frame sizes, right? So if you think of small, medium, and large, right? It's not just the feet though, it's also the hands, right? So say if I did brush knee and I do it large, even my arms as well as my legs are going to reach out and be wider, right? I do that same thing as a small frame, and maybe the circles now become more diagonals or lines, so in this way. But I'm going to utilize these smaller pieces. If I'm a younger person, I'm going to utilize the smaller stuff for my self-defense or for fighting skills. You may start with some smaller aspects. If you're an older person, you need to expand the other way. Meaning, I'm going to do my best. If the younger person has the capacity, I'm going to try to put them in the largest frame they can. And I'm going to do that with the older person too. The smaller frame has so much more dexterity in the feet. I need to be able to pivot and turn and change. It's kind of demanding whether you're younger or older. But you know, that small to the medium frame, I get that foot out there and I start working that frame size. And the hands are relatively more round with a medium, just like with the large. The base heights, what do I mean by that? Whether you're doing a large frame or a small frame, it's irrelevant. Some people are not going to engage the hip, meaning this. So this is more like we'll say like a low base and a high base. I'm not really engaging much. And a lot of people, when they first start coming, you tell them to sink, and they will sink in the knees. They won't really sink from the hip. They won't open up here, but they'll do the knees. We want to open from up here, but then that's going to engage all of the muscles. And at the same time, it's going to help us to generate more power, whether we're older or we're younger. It's just a different aspect of the same thing. Footwork, fixed and pivoting. You see a lot of people that do a fixed step like this, right? A lot of them, they shift back and they'll rock on the foot, and they put the foot down, they step through, and then there's virtually little movement with the upper body. In the beginning stages, especially if the person is older and they lack mobility and dexterity in the feet, we'll say, then using a fixed head position is great. You know, we're trying to stabilize them at first, right? We're not that concerned about generating power. And the same thing with a younger person, right? I want to get them stable in these positions. And, right, they're here, and they're in this position, right? So if they do a hand gesture, right, the foot's fixed, and so there's not a lot of additional movement. You are rotating a little bit, trying to rotate on the knee, which I don't really like that at all. Some people will push the knee past the foot, or they'll try to rotate on the ankle or with the hip, but there's just not that much there. You wouldn't want to do that in any kind of golf. Your hip has a full range of motion, right? The football player, when he throws the ball, his hip has a full range of motion. The tennis player, whenever they go to hit the ball, their hip has a full range of motion. So we want to use a pivoting stance. The weight is back here, and as I transfer the weight, I pivot the foot, and everything ends at the same time. Now, there are people out there that teach, and some of them are, you know, considered very famous, or their teachers where they do things like this. They put the weight forward, they pivot on the foot too, but they put the weight forward and then they turn the foot. That's doing absolutely nothing for you as it relates to generating power. It does nothing for you. If you think like this, I wanted to push a car, and I put the weight in the lead leg, and then now I turn the back foot. It's not helping me. But if the weight's in the rear and I pivot the foot as I transfer the weight, now I can generate force forward to help to push that car. So be careful of how you do it. You don't want to create bad habits. Again, shifting the weight and then turning the foot this doesn't really, again, it's not doing anything for you. Now, yes, of course, it is opening up the hip and turning the femur, and it's helping me to get in the right direction, but to generate power, it's not. And I really want that, no matter the age. I want to be able to get everything to go together. Right? The weight comes off, the weight goes back as the foot turns. Not transfer the weight and then turn the foot. And the same thing. So I avoid that completely. But doing the fixed position in the beginning, if the person is having stability issues or mechanical issues, it's better to go here. And then, but still, I'm not going to rock on the foot and do these kind of things, but I will sit in the back leg, take the weight off, pivot the foot, step through, and then gradually transfer the weight. Speed. So, as I was sharing a while ago, we have a natural speed. Everybody has one. It doesn't matter if you're 20 or you're 80. There's a rate and a speed that you feel comfortable with your body doing certain activities. Whether it be walking in your neighborhood or, I don't know, doing a sporting activity, there's a certain rate and speed that you feel comfortable with. And that's what I want to start everybody out, right? The person, whether, again, you're in their 20s or in their 70s, this is what you feel comfortable with, that's great. And we're going to build our base platform based off of that. And, again, a frame size that at least puts us in a position to where we have shoulder width apart, right? So like in this position here, this foot's in front of this one, so I have shoulder width, right? If it was shorter like this, then look, I'm gonna have a narrower stance. We don't want that. So I am gonna push the person to step past that type of position, increase the gait of their walk. And of course, we're gonna work on the stride too. So that natural speed, and then once a person gets a platform, or it could even be segments, we're going to increase the speed by making it faster, or we're going to make it slower. And then we're also going to do it in a varied manner. In other words, the 2 or 3 moves I made, for whatever reason, I'm doing these at X rate and speed, and then maybe I slow it down, or I speed it up. And that is challenging in itself. But why are we increasing the speed or slowing the speed down? Again, we want to work on instabilities, right? Your natural speed, you're moving in such a way, you're keeping the momentum going in such a way that it helps to stabilize you. But when I go to slow that rate down, my stabilizer muscles or the connective tissue or the muscles on the other leg or that leg, it may not be stable enough, or I may not have the posture in which to do the movement slow enough without feeling unstable. The same thing doing it fast. There's flying through the movement, and if I don't have the stability, my body's going to sway, or I'm going to overcompensate and those kind of things. So the value structure of doing it slow or fast is to improve on our natural rate and speed that we do things. The varied speed is just, it increases the challenge level of it, right? Now we have other attributes: force, torque, coiling type concepts. So in the beginning, everything is very natural rate and speed, right? Later, I want to try to add force movement. So force is this way, of course, and torque, coiling, or like semicircles or circle type movements. I want to add power to those things. In other words, you can say Jin and you can say Li. Li is like strength and Jin is like force, and there's all these different kinds of force. We don't need to get wrapped up in that. What we really need to do, though, is being able to see if we can articulate and make power. So here, can I make explosive power for my body? Right? No matter what the move is, can I make this thing have power or force? Why do I want to do that? If I'm using it for fighting skills or for self-defense, I want to know that I can generate as much power as I can for that punch, right? Or for that kick, or for that throw. On the other side of it, if I'm doing it more for health and health and wellness type concepts, What happens when I start to generate more force is that, again, it creates instability in my body. The person tries to do this and maybe they, it makes them feel, again, unstable. The other benefit of using these type of explosive actions with my body is it helps to strengthen the connective tissue. It also helps to strengthen the stabilizer muscles around the joints. And it also helps me to learn how to create a kinetic chain. Because my joints are loose, right? If I lock the joint when I'm doing this kind of stuff, I'm not going to be able to create this energy out from my body, right? I need the force and the reaction force, which is going to help me to create this kinetic chain so I can make these explosive moves. Well, it doesn't matter if you're 75. I want to be able to do that, again, for stability, the stability of my body, my structure. Also, I want to strengthen that connective tissue, the stabilizer muscles, even the bigger muscles, because so many things become involved whenever I start doing these type of actions. It stimulates the body. So again, it doesn't matter if you're older or you're younger, it has value in place. Other skills, knee lifting and leg skills. So the knee lifting, what is that? If I was using it for martial application, it's pieces where I'm driving my mass and my speed into something, right? But by lifting the knee, I can sink harder and drive deeper into these actions, right? I can penetrate these movements more, right? I lift the leg up and it helps me to generate more speed as well, or power, right? I lift the leg and I do something like that. So for fighting application, of course, we're not going to do every move like that if you were in an altercation. But I want to be able to train that skill and that attribute. How does that help if the person's older? Well, by lifting up the leg over and over, I'm working the hip flexors, the quadricep muscles, right? The lower abdominals, a lot of the muscles in my hips and in my lower core. And so why is this important if you're older? Well, if I want to walk up and down stairs, if I want to go for a hike, even if I just want to walk around, a lot of people as they get older, they quit picking the feet up, or they slide the foot, or again, they do these kind of actions, right? And it's really easy to catch a toe on a carpet or on something and take a header, right? I catch the foot and the person goes to fall. But if we're working on these kind of attributes, then that heel toe, right? I'm really picking the foot up and it's not fatiguing to me. I'm used to doing it because I'm doing it in my form. I'm practicing that to give me strength. So, in the last part of this, leg skills. What is that? So for the younger person, leg skills are fighting skills. They are incorporating trips into your postures that create throws, right? Example, I have my single whip and I'm here and I'm controlling his arm inside or outside. But if I add the trip, now I'm actually scooping his leg up and I'm pulling him with his arm and he falls down, as an example. There is lots of those pieces. Depending on your age, and if you can do the knee lifting stuff, the knee lifting would be most important first, and then probably do the leg skills. But if you can do the knee lifting skills all the way through, and that seems functional to you, and it's challenged you, but you got to this certain level, and you want to advance on that, then I encourage you to try the leg skills, right? I mean, pieces like this, where instead of me just pulling and pushing this way, the leg actually comes up, and I do the action, and I bring the leg back. And again, it's all about structure, stability, my ability to have the strength to hold me up, right? So if you think of it like that, again, I have that base platform. I learned the 48, or I learned the 108. And through doing those forms, I have this base platform. I'm going to experiment, we'll say, for the next 2 or 3 months, or the next 2 or 3 weeks, whatever. And I'm going to say, I've been doing it, my natural frame size has been like a medium frame, right? And I've been doing that for a while, and now I want to challenge myself. So now I'm going to try to do a large swing. Or I may even make it even more difficult. I do a large swing with knee lifting, right? Or I do a large swing with knee lifting, and I try to incorporate force into the action, right? Here, and I come down, and then boom, I try to make this explosive. There's all kind of different variations that you can do. The thing is, if you're just doing the form the one way, you're trying to put it to memory. And that's great, but being able to do this where you make adaptations and you modify and you keep experimenting with it, it's no longer something that you just memorize, but it's something that is turned into a tool for yourself in a way to enhance your day-to-day, your functional fitness for your day-to-day life. For the younger person, it helps to solidify the tools they're using for fighting skills. Okay, well, I can do this move all of these different ways. I can do my body like this. I can do it like that. And I truly believe that it's a great way to train. And again, Chang's Tai Chi, in my opinion, is like this. There are other stuff, like there's the Yang Ban Ho, like this more classical approach to Yang Tai Chi. They do a variety of different versions of their forms, right? They even do a knee lifting piece. Or you look at Wu style, which is, it's not really contemporary, but it's a newer style than Yang. And they have a fast form. They have how do you want to say that? They have a square and a round form. They have some of them do it ultra slow. I mean, like, I'm not talking like 20, 22 minutes. I'm talking like, I've seen video of people doing their form in 30 or 40 minutes. I mean, to me, I don't know that I would want to do it like that. But anyway, there's that variation is what helps you to explore and to become better at the content. So there's more to this than that. I mean, I also encourage people to use some apparatus. The apparatus, there's a lot of traditional Chinese exercise apparatus. And then there's also things like this, like using hand weights or you can use like running weights and things like that to help you to strengthen your grip and your forearms and your back muscles and your shoulder girdle and things like that. There's nothing wrong with that. I think the problem with a lot of people that do Tai Chi, I don't know if it's a problem, it's just not something that I have an interest in. It's like you're learning this stuff and then they're trying to tell you that it's all about your chi energy and that's really what's moving your body. And no, it's depending on what you think chi is, right? But to me personally, I see Tai Chi as a very practical thing to train. I can use it for self-defense. I can use it for my health through all stages of my life. It doesn't matter if you're in your 20s or in your 80s. You still should be able to modify and adapt the forms and the content that fit your needs. When I said about having a base platform and always going back to that, the reason why we want to do that is because we don't want to dilute what's there. In other words, you've been taught this thing, and for, like I said, the next few weeks, I'm going to do the form like this. And then I'm going to go back, and I'm going to go back through the platform as it was initially taught to me, and that I did. And then now I'm going to try something else. Maybe this time I'm going to do it really fast, or I'm going to do it really slow, or I'm going to incorporate these attributes. Again, it is, by doing it that way, it's not complicated. I mean, it may sound like it to you at first, but it's learning how to use your body in different ways. It's great to come to Tai Chi again, but if you're just coming to it and you're going to do it this one way, I don't think that will challenge the person after a period of